Hey guys, Aaron Cyberstrong Zhang here, and today we're jumping right into Road to Ranked. In the last episode, we used this really wild team with Swagger, Tornadus, and physical Tapu Fini, so we'll be playing a couple more matches with it today. This is actually the rank number 1 Gothitelle Regieleki Vanilluxe team that we had featured a while back. I wish I could say I remember all of the sets. It's Sash Urshifu, Scarf Vanilluxe, Gothitelle had Hypnosis. Aleki is a big max threat, but it's pretty subpar into Raichu. I don't know. Tapu Fini like one-shots everything after a Swagger boost. So I'm thinking about that. Like there's no way you lead Aleki. Well, actually, you can lead Aleki here if you don't expect me to lead Raichu. Hold on, because if you trap me in with Aleki Gothitelle and I lead Torn Fini, I'm in really bad shape. So if I want to cover for that, I have to basically not lead Torn Fini. Sorry, I just banged the edge of my keyboard by accident. I don't know. This one's tricky. Gothitelle on the opposing team is just so strong. I'm gonna go with Torn Fini. I think we'll want Indeedee and then Urshifu in the back. I don't know. I'm hoping my Raichu scares away the Aleki, but there's a very good chance my opponent just brings it anyway. So we'll see how things go. Either way, thanks so much as always for watching Road to Ranked. If you enjoyed, please share your support by leaving a like in the video. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you once again to TSL Tang for the team. Check him out, link down in the description below on Twitter, as well as a rental and a paste. And question of the day, I want to know what Pokemon you want to see on Road to Ranked in subsequent weeks. Definitely will go through comments and see what you all suggest. Okay, this is pretty... Oh, is it good? Yeah, it's fine. I'm just gonna double protect turn 1 into Swagger Fini turn 2, I think. I could also protect... Oh, wait, hold on. Why protect Fini? Well, because I might get hit by a freeze dry, I suppose. I think I'm fine double protecting turn 1. Yeah, actually, I'm fine with... Ooh, you know what could be really smart, though, if you're my opponent? You could switch you could switch, Vanilluxe out into Rillaboom. I'm gonna go for the Protect play, but let's see if they find that. Well, first of all, let's see if they brought Rillaboom. Okay, they don't switch out at least, which is good. The other thing I didn't want to do was, like, Max Fini and then just knock out the Vanilluxe. I think next turn I want to Swagger and Geyser into Gothitelle. Yep, there's Fake Out, and I was expecting Fake Out Blizzard, or maybe Fake Out Freeze Dry. Yeah, okay. So I'm glad they didn't switch out into Rillaboom. That could have been really bad. If Rillaboom came out, honestly, then there's a world in which we Dynamax Tornadus just to Airstream it. Anyway, I'm gonna go for the Swagger here on a Fini, Max the Fini, and then Geyser. Reason being is because if we can KO the Gothitelle, then we're not trapped anymore, right? And if Tornadus faints, that's fine, because I can just bring in Indeedee, which sets up the Psychic terrain, which means Rillaboom doesn't harm us nearly as much. So, let's see. I guess my other question is whether or not Blizzard even one-shots the Tornadus, because this Tornadus is pretty bulky. We didn't dodge any of our own Swaggers yesterday, which was really fortunate, so I feel like we're bound for it. So yes, perfectly timed. Perfectly timed. Alright, they go for taunt, that's fine. That's obviously not great, but we changed the weather, so Blizzard's slightly inaccurate now. I'm curious if we would have one-shot. Oh, we would have. Wow, that is strong. Okay. That's fine. Really, it's not that bad, honestly. Could be a lot worse. I'm gonna Swagger again and go for Starfall here onto Vanilluxe, because I think Vanilluxe switching out here seems like a likely possibility. If you stay in, that's fine. Nice. Oh, that's the wrong switch out. Rillaboom came into that slot. It's still okay, though, honestly. I mean, if you ended up Blizzarding with Vanilluxe, you KO Tornadus, I get Indeedee in for free. It's actually a pretty decent spot for us. Oh, but now I can confuse myself. Alright. Let's see. So we have a 2/3 chance each turn. Blizzard also misses Tornadus. Man, I thought the RNG yesterday was wild, but this is even going to be wilder. Okay, does Fini attack through? Okay, manages to attack through. I wish, like, us setting up terrain meant that we weren't confused, but that's not how it works, right? Anyway, that was a really good switch on my opponent's end. It may have been smarter to just Tailwind and Starfall into Gothitelle. The thing here is that we're really flipping coins right now, right? It's a matter of fact. It's a question of whether or not I attack through Confusion. I feel like my opponent... What's their last one is the question. It's Urshifu. Okay. Meaning you have to Dynamax Rillaboom. Meaning if I don't hit myself in Confusion this turn, Max Hailstorm will one-shot Rillaboom. But the odds of attacking through 2 Confusions is what, 4 and 9? I guess not including the fact you can snap out a Confusion. Is Confusion, you can snap out after 1 turn? Or is it 2? I always forget. Either way, I think this is my best play, because I think for my opponent's end, there's no way you max Urshifu. You have to max the Rillaboom right now. You can't max Gothitelle either. Like, on that team, Aleki and Landorus are typically the max options, and my opponent didn't bring either. So, like, this indicates to me you have to max Rillaboom this turn. I'm fine with that. It's just a question of whether or not I attack through Confusion. There's really no other way around it. That's a smart play. That's a very, very, very smart play. Okay, I really like that play from my opponent's end. They didn't just gamble the game away, like, this turn. Yeah, I think that was really smart. But the thing is, see, it gives us a chance to snap out of Confusion, right? Although I suppose if they stayed in and max, we would have just instantly won. But we got pretty lucky here. Like, we hit the swag. Well, I guess we missed the first swagger, and if we had just connected that, we'd actually be in really good shape. So, RNG, give it, and RNG, take it. Okay. And the nice thing here is that the hail is up, right? So maybe you actually can max Urshifu right now. It just seems like a subpar max option. Yeah, I feel like if we just hit the initial swagger turn 1, Gothitelle would have just got 1 shot. Or on turn 2, Gothitelle would have gotten 1 shot. And then at turn 3, I could have just clicked Tailwind. Or if Rillaboom comes out, just switch the... Yeah, I think we would have been in really good shape if the first swagger hit, so... It is what it is. In the end, we get lucky enough to at least, like, you know, manage to get multiple attacks off with Fini, so that's nice. Are we slower or faster here? 105? Alternative is bringing Urshifu. Let's bring out Indeedee. I think we should be slower than the Rillaboom. I'd be really surprised if Rillaboom had less speed than this. The main thing is I want the terrain, right? So let's see. Oh, they're slower. Uh-oh. Okay, I was not expecting that. Ah, that's a problem. Should I have just brought out Urshifu then? I should have, I even used that team before. I just didn't remember. I thought I had some speed investment, but okay. Huh. What do I do then? Oh, it's because we have Tailwind up, right? Forgot about that. Whoops. If I'm my opponent, I'm maxing Rillaboom. I'm protecting Urshifu. I guess they could max Urshifu here as well, but I really think you max Rillaboom here. So what I want to do is just go for a Helping Hand and Ice Punch onto Rillaboom. This is greedy in the sense that if they actually make the call and just glide with Rillaboom onto Fini, oh gosh, I think they're going for it. That's a really good call on their end. Yeah, they protected, but I think Rillaboom's always targeting Fini here with the glide. Oh. Okay, that also makes sense. Yeah, that play also makes a lot of sense. That's interesting, though. Because now I can go for Follow Me. Yeah, it's actually pretty good for us. Because now I can just Follow Me and knock out the Urshifu. Because we're faster than Urshifu right now. It's going to be a close one. It's going to be very close. Yeah, Follow Me. We could also misplay Rough here, which is scary. Either way, I'm like decently happy with how I played this game. And that's the thing with using this strategy. If you miss Swagger on your Fini, it can be really, really ugly. So, but you can see, like, even though we missed turn 1, What the heck? Everything on my computer just... Hello? Is this still going? Okay, my computer just went dark. But I think it's still recording. Oh, we are good. I didn't even get to see what happened in that turn. I think they protected Rillaboom and attacked with Urshifu. I saw the protect before my screen like blanked out for a second. Man, just when I think I fixed one technical issue, there's another technical issue. But I think this is game over now, right? They didn't max ever, which was really interesting, but fortunately for us, we hit the play rough. Okay. We still have another turn of Tailwind. I mean, here it's just follow me and Ice Punch, right? You have to max Rillaboom this turn. And if you max Rillaboom, that means you can't Grassy Glide. And then I have Urshifu with Choice Band in the back. Yeah. So they never had a good position to max, and that's partially because with that team, you really want to max one of Landorus or Regieleki. So if you're not bringing either, you're very limited in your options. So, yeah, that game goes to show, you know, even though we missed that Swagger turn one. Yeah, wait, what was the Rillaboom speed? Yeah, this is Willie's team. Lecky not coming out was really good, but that, you know, that's the good thing about Raichu. However, you know, since they have Max Strike, I actually think you could still make a pretty good argument for Lecky, because you can just strike the Raichu and get rid of that. Right, sorry. The reason we outsped Rillaboom was because we had Tailwind Up, which I totally forgot about. I don't think would I play it differently? I mean, we could have brought Urshifu out, but no. I still think bringing Indeedee out is correct because the redirection support is just way too valuable to give up there. So, yeah. Alright, I mean, hey, Fini did really well there, and it continues to show how strong it can be, so we'll take those. Yeah, this is Willie's team, by the way. We used this just a couple of weeks ago. It got #1 on the ladder. He was able to get #1 on the ladder with this team, so yeah, go check those episodes out if you haven't. It's a really, really good team, and it's super fun. And I feel like the main upside there is that my opponent just never had a really strong max option, so we were able to really, like, snowball despite the early Swagger miss. And I think if Swagger hit turn 1, I feel like just like it's like a game-winning hit immediately. Because I don't really know how you come back from that with Vanilluxe, Urshifu, and Rillaboom. Rillaboom's the only answer, but then, well, I guess turn 2... You bring out Rillaboom and you pressure Fake Out. Like, I could Tailwind Hailstorm, but you also pressure Glide. But then Fini's max. I don't know if Glide KOs Fini from that range. The other play I could make is switch Tornadus out into Indeedee and then just max Hailstorm into Rillaboom. So I think Fini just had a really good matchup there as soon as the Regieleki didn't come out. But let's get into the next game. All right, next match here, and wow, it's almost a poor Gyarados. It wants to be a Dragon type so badly here. Everyone else is. But it's doing its best, and that's what matters. So, Kommo-o, Guzzlord, Dragapult, Garchomp, Latios, and Gyarados. So I think it's just Swagger. Like, Misty Terrain is really good for us here, too. So Torn Fini, probably Indeedee for redirection. Plus Expanding Force is actually quite solid. Raichu's it. Wait, well, do we have any attacks with this? Thunderbolt, was it? Or, no, it's Electro Web Volt Switch. So this thing does no damage. Okay, I mean, definitely Urshifu. Is it ever stack attack over Indeedee? No, I don't think so. I think Indeedee's too good here to not bring. So, yeah. Anyway, I was still thinking about the end of that last game. So basically, I have 2 screens, and the screen that I was like recording on basically just like blacked out. I don't know if it's because like of a faulty connection or something, but everything was still recording, right? So the screen, or maybe the screen just like went to sleep for a second. So the recording was still going on. I missed that turn against the Urshifu, but yeah, play rough hit, so that's what matters. Anyway, really cool team here. It's tough running a near full Dragon type team in this format, right? Because there's so many Fairy types. Fini being one of the most common ones, obviously. But Dragon types are obviously very strong. Dragon in general is a very strong type, being just you know, the weaknesses are tough, and when you run a near mono type team, it's, you know, even harder to cover for those weaknesses. So we'll see what tricks my opponent has up their sleeve. But as always, you should never underestimate your opponent, right? I think I've seen so many players fall in the trap of being like, oh, my opponent's running like a gimmicky mono type team, or like an evolution team, something like that, right? But that's exactly the kind of mindset like lead to you losing, because you underestimate your opponents and you don't know what sets are coming your way, and maybe you play a little bit looser. Guzzlord and Latios. I mean, I think it's just Tailwind turn 1, Max, and just Starfall into Guzzlord. Like, my opponent is Mono Dragon. So what's your switch into Starfall? There's nothing. There's literally nothing. So I don't even need to Swagger. Might as well get the speed control going and then go from there. Because Latios should not be a major offensive threat. At least not to Tapu Fini. Maybe to the Tornadus. But, like, what are you going to do? Draco Meteor? Thunderbolt? Neither of those are super scary. And since Fini has the type advantage in this... Okay, so they're going to max, which should be max Latios, right? That's pretty cool. I'm excited to see what this does. Is there any, like, priority Guzzlord has to activate weakness policy? That would be wild. I feel like I, could have just won the game by going for, like, Swagger, Starfall into Latios this turn, but I don't want to risk the game on turn 1 because, like, there's a lot that can go wrong there. We could miss Swagger. If we miss Swagger, Latios one-shots the Tornadus, it's not great. So, I'm expecting Latios to be able to one-shot Tornadus here, but if it can't, I think my opponent is just in a lot of trouble because then I can just Swagger safely the subsequent turns. Although I suppose if they do have Thunderbolt or just Max Lightning, change the terrain, that could definitely swing things a little bit into their favor. Okay, so Guzzlord doesn't protect, doesn't switch out either. I mean, I'm pretty sure Max Starfall's a KO, but Guzzlord's pretty tanky, so I don't know. Alright. I always second guess these things just because it's so scary. Like, you think it's like, oh, it's so obvious, and it's like, well, what if I actually survive? Like, what if I Focus Sash Guzzlord? Okay, they're just gonna go for Max Mindstorm. That's okay, yeah, that does no damage. Although it means I can't Swagger, as I learned from that last game. Although in the last game I didn't even think about the Rillaboom switch out, so that's actually one thing you should heavily consider if you're playing with this team. Respect your opponent switching out. Respect your opponent basically changing the terrain, whether it be a switch out or whether it be through a max move of their own. So, but that's fine, right? Okay, they did bring Gyarados out. That's a great bring by them. We have Tailwind up. Air Slash doesn't really do much. I could still self-Swagger, but I think it's just really risky. We've got Urshifu in the back as well, so if we feign, Urshifu should just clean up as well, right? My only fear is activating a weakness policy on this Latios. I'm down to Air Slash Gyarados and Starfall, and the reason I'm willing to spread my damage a little bit here is because, okay, max card. Yeah, because we're already ahead, right? We have the early lead, and so might as well split our damage right now, because we have Urshifu in the back. And under Tailwind, Urshifu can just Wicked Blow against everything. No need to aggressively double up here, in my opinion. We even get a flinch. I feel like we've had very good luck these last 3 days. And it's bound to run out. Like, I'd rather be very unlucky on the ladder and lucky in tournaments than the other way around, but it is what it is. I'll double up onto Latios here. I don't think we KO with this double up. I'm actually really curious. I don't really know how to gauge physical Tapu Fini's damage output, but hey, Air Slash actually did a sizable amount there. I mean, Latios not exactly the bulkiest Pokemon. Alright, it's not enough for a one-shot, but that's fine. I'm just curious on the item on this. It's not Life Orb, so weakness policy would actually be very intriguing, and I feel like with a team like my opponents, you should have the policy on some Pokemon. But it's not policy. Okay, nice. Yeah, so they're just gonna go for a Mindstorm onto Fini. And this is the nice thing about Tapu Fini, right? Even as an offensive option, like, it's still got really good base special defense. So, like, my opponent spent 2 max moves to do 60% of damage to it. A Thunder Wave. Fini dodges it. Yeah, I mean, we have definitely been getting lucky here. But I think we're in a very good position anyway, to be honest, because we had Urshifu in the back. They don't have any resists to Urshifu outside of Guzzlord. And, like, Tailwind's about to expire, right? So, like, I could just set up another Tailwind. Like, the typing is just really tough for them to do much in this one. I did forget that the Gyarados intimidated us. I think that's the one weird thing when using this team. Like, it's so weird to think that Intimidate actually affects Tapu Fini, and I'm not used to that in the slightest. Okay, let's just play this safe. It's the last turn of Tailwind, so the play I like making here is double protecting, because what that allows us to do is then just Tailwind again next turn. That's the really nice thing. If you have Protect on your Tailwind user and you can Protect on your last turn of Tailwind, it gives you 2 Tailwinds, right? If you have 2 Tailwinds up in a game, it's typically pretty difficult to lose if you don't, like, lose your offensive sweepers too quickly. And by doing this, I also bait out a Protect from the Latios, which is perfect. Yeah, so I think, yeah, if we weren't intimidated, we actually would have gotten the knockout onto the Latios, which is pretty cool. So now I'm just going to Tailwind, and we don't need to risk a miss. Let's just Ice Punch Latios. And Tornadus plus Urshifu should clean up this game. I think the main thing here is that my opponent also led Guzzlord. If they led Latios plus Gyarados, I think they might have had a better shot. With Guzzlord, it was just a free knockout turn 1 or a guaranteed free Starfall, right? So that's why, like, being able to switch in VGC is really important. That's why it's tough to use a mono-type team or near mono-type team. So kudos to my opponent, right? Because, like, the odds are stacked against you. Just because it means that switching is a lot more difficult than normal. Because, like, on turn 1, for example, we just had the very free opportunity to just go for Max Starfall. My opponent had literally no answer into it, right? Like, the best answer is Gyarados, because then I probably would be less incentivized to go for Max Starfall on a Gyarados immediately. And I'd probably target Latios in that position, and then they maybe could have surprised me with Max Psychic into T-Wave. Although I suppose, like, even then, yeah. Kommo-o's their last one. We got Tailwind up. Vindy in the back. I'm just going to Air Slash Kommo-o here, switch Fini out into Indeedee. Actually, is that the play? If I'm my opponent, what am I doing? I would protect Kommo-o here, T-Wave into Fini. Even then, though... Yeah, Gyarados hasn't revealed Protect, so I'm down to double up onto it. I mean, I think Kommo-o protecting here is likely. Yeah. And it's like this I feel like this double up isn't even that aggressive. Like Kommo-o, I guess, like can boost itself a little bit. It's so funny seeing Tapu Fini go for a play rough. I don't think this double up will KO though, unfortunately, but that's okay. Curious on the item on the Gyarados as well. Yep, survives with a sliver. They finally hit Thunder Wave, so yeah, about time. But I might be a little bit too late. Although I still think they have some comeback potential here, quite frankly. I'm gonna Air Slash Kommo-o. And play rough it. Maybe I should have just Air Slash Gyarados with Tornadus. Get that out of the way. But we still have 2 Pokemon in the back. Alright, they're just gonna Clanging Scales. Yeah, it's fine. This Tornadus is bulky. Like, it takes that quite nicely. So. Okay. There's the Throat Spray. Just fine. Nice. We've also, I don't know, we've been just super lucky these last few days. Like, no full para. No, we haven't missed at all. Oh, I guess we missed Swagger on that first game, but still. Like, the odds were definitely... The odds have been good for us. Not the odds have been good for us. Like, the RNG has favored us. Pretty interesting Gyarados set, by the way. This reminds me of, like, a Gyarados set I used in VGC 2017. Yeah, like Waterfall, T-Wave, EQ. Kind of a more supportive set. Citrus Berry, like Intimidate. Although I don't think we saw Citrus on Gyarados, did we? Either way, pretty solid position for us. Yeah, I mean, we just bring out Urshifu, Wicked Blow. But, yeah, how do you win this game if you're my opponent? Because, like, Fini alone is just such a terrible matchup, right? And they gave up Guzzlord for free on turn 1. So I'm thinking their best bet... it's tough for them, too, because, like, normally it would be to get special defense boosts, but I'm a physical Fini, right? You're never going to see that coming, so it's even tougher to go up against that. It was probably to just max Psychic and then Thunder Wave. Like, their approach was probably the best, honestly. And we were lucky to not get hit by Thunder Wave. But even if we did, like, we had enough resources in the end game with both Urshifu and Indeedee. So, yeah, I think this is just a really tough matchup. And, I mean, this example is a good example of why, like, team choice matters in Pokemon, right? And why team synergy is important as well. And so, you know, I really love... my opponent, you know, trying to build like a mono dragon type team there. It's just like, it's going to be pretty tough to win against like meta stuff like Fini, for example. Fini specifically, and they didn't really have super good Fini answers. Yeah, so Throat Spray, Key Berry, Heavy Slam Snarl, Lash Out Knockoff. That's really cool. Dragon Fang, Dragapult. Wow. Policy Garchomp. So that's where the policy was. So actually, I think this is probably the answer. My opponent basically needed to get me to like bait me into activating their policy and then sweeping with whatever policy mon. Because like, yeah, they felt forced to max Latios. And you can see, actually, yeah, this Latios barely had any offense. It was Tailwind, Protect, Bulldoze, Psychic. Bulldoze is interesting. It was Lum Gyarados. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So I think my opponent's best shot here is probably playing towards Garchomp and, yeah, baiting me to somehow activate the weakness policy. But it's probably pretty tough for them because we have Tapu Fini, and Tapu Fini can just go for swag. Or, sorry, like with Tornadus Fini, I can just Swagger, Max Hailstorm, and knock out Garchomp. So it's not easy for my opponent by any means. But, yeah, I think, you know, it's always fun to see a competitive, like, mono-type team. And I guess that wasn't an entirely mono-type team. But, you know, Dragon is just tough, especially with Fini running around. So let's look for our next game here. All right, next match of the day. The last game I had disconnected after one turn. I I got a big crit on turn 1, that was basically it, so yeah, figured you just jump to the next one. Metagross, Lando, Grimm, Fini, Zapdos, and Porygon. I mean, Fini's good here, but it doesn't do super well into Metagross. I love how this team is constructed, by the way, though, but right? Because, like, you can see it's clearly all about the Tapu Fini. So it's like, oh, what, you know, does Fini not hit super well? Well, Metagross, Urshifu is very good against that. And then you have the Raichu to cover for the electric type weakness, which is what dissuaded Regieleki from coming out. Like, Raichu has such a good passive impact on this team just by being in team preview, because if you don't have Raichu, you just bring your electric type Pokemon and go to town from there. Yeah, let's just do it. Tornadus Fini? This is just such a good lead with this team, but, like, there's so little downside to leading it often, and, like, yeah, my opponent has Zapdos, so maybe we bring Raichu specifically for that. I'm definitely bringing Urshifu. Raichu? Just doesn't do damage. I just don't think it's useful at all, honestly. I'm gonna bring in, well, it's not useful at all, but I think having it in team preview hopefully is useful enough. But this is the thing, right? Game 1, if my opponent had actually just led Aleki, we're in a lot of trouble. So this team creates a lot of mind games, and if your opponents are good enough to, you know, go to the next level and be willing to max their electric type Pokemon, kudos to them, because that's really difficult to do. Yeah, it's Grim Lando here, not bad. So turn 1's interesting because it's like, do I worry about fake out Rockfall into Tornadus? If so, you know, I can obviously just max Starfall. We're intimidated. I definitely want to max, sorry, I definitely want to protect Tornadus. It's just whether I want to, what do I want to do with Fini? Do I though? Are they going to be fake out? Fake out's just not that common. Do I play it safe? Because I could push the tempo so quickly by swaggering. Swagger Hailstorm Landorus. My other question is whether -1 Starfall KOs Grimm. I don't think it does. Okay, you know what I'm going to go for, actually? I'm going to Swagger Fini Starfall. Okay, you know, I think I should just play around. Okay, they're not maxing Lando. Wait, or were they slower? I didn't see the abilities turn 1. The reason here is because I'm hoping, like, I'm thinking they go, like, Light Screen, maybe Max Quake into Fini, right? The only problem is, well, actually, there are 2 problems. 1 is Fake Out, 2 is Lagging Tail. Both would be pretty big issues. So let's see if it's just a screen. Oh. That also works. That's a big miss. Oh, we are faster than Landers. I should have noticed that, obviously, based off how the speeds went turn 1. Is that sashed? Oh. Are they... This must be Swords Dance, then. Okay, or U-turn. That also makes sense. Whoops. Just dropped my controller. I probably should have Hailstorm Landers. No. I mean, like, Sash Grim is not common, right? They did bring Zapdos. Well done. Well done. Alright, well, I'm going to go Swagger here and go for Hailstorm onto Zapdos. We can survive a Max Lightning. Should I have Tailwinded, though? Maybe Tailwinding was the better play. No, because the thing is Zapdos, you only can pick up 1 of 2 not. Oh, wait. They could just Fate Tears Max Lightning Fini. Oh, I didn't think about that. And I think that's coming our way. Yeah, I should have Max Guard Tailwinded. Because the reason why is because even if they don't, like, I would just straight up lose to Fake Tears Max Lightning right now. Okay, but they make the switch out. Back out into Lando for Intimidate. Yeah, that's fine. That is fine. I'll take that. Sash Grim is really clutch for my opponent here, though. And obviously we miss. If we hit the Swagger, I think we would just probably win, because then I could just Tailwind, and then we'd be at... Yeah, you can't KO Fini. I can just go for another Swagger. But with this team, you do miss a fair amount of times, and so... It's good to highlight this variance, because, like, the strategy isn't 100% consistent, right? But what's important is figuring out ways to win even if you miss your Swagger turn 1. We were able to do that in the first game. Let's see if we can accomplish that here. Alright, this one hits, which is good, but this only brings us back to neutral, basically, so it doesn't feel amazing. Okay. They max Airstream. Oh, that is enough for a one-shot. I thought we'd survive that, to be honest. That's bad news. Maybe it's not terrible, because I do get Indy in for free, but... it's gotta be a Life Orb Zapdos then, right? Yeah. I wonder if that was a guaranteed KO or not. I don't know that calc super well. Mainly because I just haven't used bulky Tornadus very much at all. Yeah, Hailstorm is... man, I mean, Physical Fini actually hits pretty well, even without the Swagger boost. Okay. But yeah, if I hit that first Swagger, we could have just gone for another one, right? And then that KOs Zapdos, but odds of hitting 2 Swaggers aren't exactly, like, incredible. So, yeah. Okay, I'm going to bring in NDD. We have Psychic Seed, which is actually very nice for us. Now, this next turn is really interesting because I have the Psychic Seed. Expanding Force also does... well, they're going to Lightning, actually, right? So, never mind. Expanding Force isn't really that strong. If I'm my opponent, I would U-turn and Max Lightning. Maybe even double up into the Fini slot. You can also protect Zapdos U-turn with Lando. Oh, I actually think that's a really good play. I, however, here am just going to protect and go for a Hailstorm onto Zapdos. Yeah, they found it. Well, I could have one-shot the Landorus then if I was expecting U-turn into the NDD slot. But I wanted to cover for them. Oh, and they... wow. Okay, yeah, that's a really good play. Yeah, that's like the perfect play. And I have no counterplay to this. I assume you bring Grim out, so then you just sack it. Oh, no, it's their Fini. I can't win now, I don't think. I don't have enough damage output. I needed my Fini to deal with theirs, and I needed my Fini to be at +2 attack, I think. Yeah, that was a very good play. Of course, like, hitting Swagger would have been better for us, but I also could have just hailed. I always pay attention to your abilities, because, yeah, I didn't fully realize we were actually outspeeding the Lando. So then, like, if I had max Hailstorm Lando turn 1, we would have just been up, right? 3-4, and then they don't get to recycle the Intimidate. So, like, yes, I missed the Swagger. Yeah, that's unlucky, but I didn't make the best possible play turn 1. Is it right to target Lando? I think so, because you either KO it, or if it Dynamaxes, you just do so much damage to it, and then I have the advantage. But then the thing is, without knowing the Grim set, I was also contemplating Protect on Tornadus, although that wouldn't have actually accomplished anything. Although I was still thinking that was the safer play to make. +1 Spadef. I guess we just follow me here, but I just don't think we can deal enough damage to Fini, especially because we don't have Poison Jab on Urshifu here. Yeah, I think Fini just wins this game alone for my opponent now. So, well done. They found a really good way to, like, yeah, conserve their Fini for the late game. I didn't realize just how strong late game Fini is against us, which is ironic because we're using a physical Fini, right? But you can just, yeah, Airstream and Calm Mind here. Once Fini is boosted, like, our only shot was if we had, like, Poison Jab, I think, on Urshifu, but we don't. Okay, I guess then the question is there any status condition I can inflict on my opponent? The answer is Ice Punch Freeze, but with Misty Terrain up right now, I can't actually freeze. So I can hope for Terrain. Even then, where's my damage coming from? Yeah, so this is, I think, a great example of a game where it's like, yes, we had bad RNG in turn 1, but I also didn't make the best plays, so, like, I can't be super upset, right? Yeah, and once again, like, the odds of Swagger hitting 85, not bad, but not amazing either. I know I saw the recommender, or sorry, the team creator say, hey, maybe you want to consider using Wide Lens instead of Citrus Berry, and I think or people had recommended that to him, and I think, you know, that's definitely a solid suggestion. So if you want to modify this team a little bit, Wide Lens probably makes it a little bit more consistent, and I don't think Citrus actually comes up, like, that big enough where it's like you absolutely need it. With 3 turns of terrain left, I just really don't see an out here. I guess we could crit play Rough onto Fini. Alright, I'm gonna play to my outs. I mean, even if it's the slimmest odds, you still go for it. So I'll double protect here. Let the Grim faint from Hail. And our win con is a crit play Rough. Even crit play Rough into Wicked Blow I don't think knocks out Fini, though. Okay, this is also a really, really good turn. They make the switch into the Landorus, so you get the Intimidate off. Yeah, I think my opponent has played this game super, super well. It's just turn 1 that I really think I could have capitalized on a little bit better. But by going for this, I really don't have any counterplay at this point. Because I think our only chance was to crit Fini. Yeah. My other answers... Okay, so in a situation like this, I always ask myself, like, could I have brought any better Pokemon? The answers were Stakataka and Raichu. Don't really think those are it either. So, yeah. Stakataka, Raichu. You would think Raichu is good against Tapu Fini normally, but without any electric type damage, like consistent electric type damage, it's not actually really that good. I guess I just go all in this turn and hope that like Helping Hand play rough crits actually enough to KO Tapu Fini. I don't even know if it's enough, but I think that's our only win con right now, so we're gonna go for it. If I had KO'd Landorus turn 1, yeah, this would have been a pretty drastically different game. Because you see how my opponent cycling Intimidates? Like, Intimidate's good against physical Fini, obviously, and my opponent, you know, caught on to that very quickly. Okay, I mean, Moonblast's just gonna KO us, right? I guess I should have gone Follow Me, play rough crit instead. That was probably smarter. But... Whoa. Ah, the lag is back. Why? Okay, hopefully not for too long. Ah, man, I thought I had figured it out. I literally reset my computer. Like, I factory reset it. But it's still lagging. Maybe it's with my Switch. Maybe it's like the adapter I'm using or something. But I gotta get to the bottom of this. Anyway, yeah, this game was over a while ago, but it's still worth playing out because your opponent can always throw, right? And in Pokemon, like, the margins are really razor thin, and sometimes, like, one mistake, like, even if they just, like, misclick or timeout in a turn, that can be enough to get you back into the game. And we still had a win con here, but the win con was very slim. Like, you know, once you dig yourself into a hole, it's on your opponent to mess up, right? And so, like, you don't really have as much agency. But... yeah, I mean, as I already reflected on, like, turn 1 of this game was really critical. They did have Fake Out, but they ended up targeting Fini. And, like, if I ended up Hailstorming Landorus, it also would have broken the Sash on Grimmsnarl, which I think then just puts us in such a good position. So, while we got unlucky with the Swagger miss, I didn't make the best play turn 1, and I definitely, I think, should have targeted Landorus instead. I was just expecting screens Grimmsnarl, and I was like, okay, you're going to light screen turn 1, reflect turn 2, and then with reflect, things get a little bit more annoying. So I was like, might as well just eliminate Grimmsnarl. I guess if it weren't Focus Sash Grimmsnarl, that also would have been a very different game. So that was like a very big factor at the end of the day. But definitely a fun game. But I think we have time for one more, so let's do it. Final match of the day. I feel like I've seen this team before, but I don't know. It's obviously a lot of common Pokemon together. I want to play towards Fini. What a surprise. The thing is, they have double redirection with Amoonguss, Togekiss, and they have Incineroar, so it's like, how often do I actually get to Swagger and attack turn 1 on Fini? Plus, they have dual Intimidate. Maybe it's not Fini? What else is the answer, though? Stakataka? That seems kind of odd. Alright, I think we run it back for one last game today. I'll go Torn Fini, Indeedee, Urshifu. Yeah, that works for me. I mean, the last game, like, the problem wasn't not bringing... you know what the problem was? I could have protected when I got hit by... No, but that doesn't work. I was gonna say, I could have protected when I got hit by Max Airstream on Tornadus. I was just thinking Tornadus maybe could survive there, and if we do, we get a Tailwind off, game's completely different. Because then we just knock out Zapdos before he can move. But I think he really started on turn 1. Like, yeah, pay attention to your abilities, because I didn't do a great job of that, and should have realized that we outsped Landorus, which, you know, we would have just been able to won. Well, I'm guessing -1 Max Hailstorm one-shots Landorus, but I'm not actually 100% sure about that. I think it should. I guess it really comes down to just how bulky they are. Okay, it's Togekiss plus Landorus. Did they expect my, like, I don't even know if they expect Swagger, but they might still just follow me anyway. Landorus intimidates, goes out first, so that's good to know. I don't know. I still kind of want to Swagger turn 1 because we can get the ball rolling really quickly with Fini. What's the better play? If I expect Follow Me, it's to protect and go for a max move, but I don't even KO the Togekiss. So I think I kind of have to go all in. I'm going to go for the Swagger. I'm going to max. I'm going to Hailstorm Landorus. I mean, the main thing here is, like, do you feel forced to Follow Me with Togekiss? Because, like, what do you threaten by damage-wise? I guess, like, even if you're AV Landorus, maybe you just want to redirect damage away from it. So, like, Follow Me makes a lot of sense here, because it's not like Togekiss has, like, significantly better options. You're going to Dazzling Gleam, maybe Yawn. But I think redirection is obviously one of the biggest issues to go up against. Interesting. They're not maxing. Or we speed tie. But, yeah, like, one of the main things you can do to stop this team is redirection, because Fini is just a lot weaker, obviously, if it does not get that Swagger boost off. You also have to, click the redirection move. So the question here is whether or not Togekiss actually went for Follow Me, because if not, this is actually very good for us. Okay, for a second I thought we missed, but okay, great. Although now I really wish I just one-shot Togekiss. Okay, they Rock Slide. Hey, that's fine. Nice, that activates Stitcher. I mean, this is actually could not have gone any better, quite frankly. They didn't go for redirection. We got the Fini boost, which is great, right? Because as soon as I get the first one, I don't really need any more. Like, Fini at +4 is nice. Well, I suppose we're only at +1 right now. Okay, they're Crit Kiss too, it looks like. Well, I guess I actually can't confirm that. Maybe they're just Super Luck, but no Scope Lens. So now this is like the $1,000,000 question. Did my opponent bring a Lecky in the back? They probably did, right? Which means if I just brought Raichu, it would have been a free Tornadus into Raichu switch, and then just attack with Fini. So maybe I did need to bring Raichu in this game. Togekiss is also faster than the Fini. Yeah. I think it's Crit Kiss. If the Lecky doesn't come out here, then my opponent definitely didn't bring it, right? And it's Incineroar. Wow, okay. I'm okay with that. I'm very okay with that. If I'm my opponent, I'm going Fake Out Airstream into Tornadus right now, I think. I guess this does bring us back to neutral. I'm gonna just go into Indy here. And Hailstorm into Togekiss. I guess the only fear here is if they're Weakness Policy Togekiss, right? Actually, it's still likely my opponent has a Lecky, but they didn't want to bring it out because I haven't revealed Raichu yet. So they're like, oh, if they have Raichu, I bring in a Lecky, I max a Lecky, Raichu comes in, kind of just lose. So I'm hoping here what we can do is bring in Indy, change the terrain. That's not really relevant though. You max Togekiss here, I think, for sure, if you're my opponent. And I would Fake Out Airstream into Tornadus. I was thinking about protecting Tornadus there. You know, I mean, we could have protected Tornadus and Geysered Incineroar, but then, because then that changes the weather, and then, like, I don't know if you knock out Tornadus with Airstream through Protect, but I wasn't 100% confident on that. The reason I wanted to make this play is because I want to bring Tornadus back out to set up a Tailwind in the late game. Togekiss being faster here is a problem, though. Yeah, there's Fake Out. There's Airstream. And they got the crit, I think. Yeah, that's fine. So it was going to be a 2 KO anyway, right? So I don't think that actually makes a difference at all. Now my question, are you Policy? No, you're definitely Scope Lens, right? Or Razor Claw, like. Ooh, Hailstorm is pretty close to a 2 KO. It's very close with hail damage. I think it's a damage roll, basically. Now, if you're my opponent, you're gonna go Airstream into... What's their last one? A Lecky? I don't think it's a Amoonguss, right? I think it's a Lecky or Urshifu. Oh, you know what we do? We just Follow Me to counteract... No, sorry, not Follow Me. We Helping Hand to counteract the potential Parting Shot or Snarl into Fini. Yeah. Helping Hand and Hailstorm and Togekiss. I guess they can Max Guard Kiss here. Well, we should survive. I don't know if we survive Crit Airstream on Fini. I think we do. If you're my opponent, I think the play that makes most sense is Airstream plus Snarl or Parting Shot double up onto the Tapu Fini slot. I'm gonna go for Helping Hand because, like, Follow Me, I don't think it's worth it. And if they don't go for... Oh, perfect. Yeah. Okay, they just target Indeedee. Yeah, this is what I mean, right? When you go for a play like that, you're basically forcing your opponent to, like, respect the Follow Me. And they didn't punish it, which is great. Yeah, Parting Shot. So I think it's a damage roll in Togekiss, right? We got the Helping Hand, but, like, they're dropping our stat a little bit. We have the ever so slightest bit of hail damage as well. Now the other question is it Urshifu or Regieleki coming in? It is Regieleki. Ah, okay. Don't love that. Definitely don't love that. Oh, is that enough for hail? I think it is. Okay, Regieleki takes hail. And the other nice thing is, oh, nice, that's perfect. The other thing that's really nice for us here is that, one, hail was up, right? So it breaks potential Sash on Regieleki. What's the item on Regieleki? Because Life Orb was already revealed on Landorus, right? So we just bring out Tornadus here, we double protect, we Tailwind, and then go from there. I think Urshifu closes out the game. Oh, I don't know. Does Close Combat one-shot, or sorry, does Flare Blitz one-shot Urshifu after a Close Combat? I wouldn't think so, but yeah, this is not over yet. Wait, let me think about this. Okay, let's double check the state of the field. 2 turns of hail left. 3 turns of Psychic Terrain left. I'm at -2 attacks. I'm really not doing very much. Instant just came out so it can Fake Out. I think Fake Out plus Electro Web here makes most sense. Like, it comes down to whether or not Instant, like, one-shots our Urshifu, I think. Because the play I want to make here is protect the Tornadus and just Waterfall with Fini. And what that accomplishes is, even if you knock out Fini, that's fine. I get the free switch into Urshifu, and then I can Tailwind Close Combat. So then it's a question of whether or not we can survive a Flare Blitz at -1. I think we do, but I'm not 100% on that. Oh, they didn't even Fake Out. That's fine. Okay, so it's Electro Web. It comes down to how offensive the Incineroar is. Yeah, because Close Combat's going to one-shot Incin, right? But I have to target Regieleki at this turn. I like that play my opponent made, by the way, because it covers for a switch-out option on my end. I guess the alternative is I could actually target the... I could target Incineroar rather than Urshifu. That's really risky, though. I think I'm just going to go Tailwind Close Combat. And if they have attack investment on Incineroar, so be it. I don't think Flare Blitz normally would one-shot us. It's the last turn of Hail, too, so... we won't take any chip from the Hail. Okay, they're not Scarf-Regieleki or anything wild like that, so that's good. I don't know. I just, like, I can't in good faith let out an Regieleki. Like, Urshifu's defense is obviously better than its special defense, and Regieleki is a little bit more offensive than Incineroar. Alright, so Moment of Truth. Can we survive Flare Blitz here? Okay, good. Yeah, I figured that was the case, but I was just like, in case, I don't know, if they're like max attack, no burn, perfect, perfect. Even if they got the burn, what would I do? I'd probably just self-swagger then in that position, which would be kind of fun. Okay, yeah, I think it's just Air Slash and Close Combat here. Yeah, this was a close one. This was definitely a close one. But Fini felt amazing both in yesterday's episode and today's episode, so this team is just super, super fun. I think, like I mentioned, if you try it out, you might not have as much success because a lot about this team is the element of surprise, and I suspect when Road to Rank goes out, like, some people will know, figure out what the team does. That being said, it's still a really strong team, and, obviously, it's not like everyone's going to catch on to this super quickly. So if you're looking for a really fun team, like, can catch opponents off guard, like, this team is certainly it, especially, before people really find out about it. So thank you once again to TSL Tank for the team, and for all the amazing teams he's contributed to Road to Rank. Like, he's built so many awesome teams, and, yeah, it's always just a pleasure to feature really cool stuff like this. So I had a blast with this one. Thank you so much, as always, for watching Road to Rank. If you enjoyed, please share your support by leaving a like. I'd really appreciate it. Don't forget to answer the question of the day, and I'll see you all next time. All right, peace.